I am sick to the back teeth of talking about Cooper in, Cooper out, Cooper shake it all about. So we're going to go a little more technical today and talk about formations. Which works better for Nottingham Forest? Is it a back four or is it a back five? Welcome to your latest Forest video. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are. Hope you're well. Welcome to a bit more of a tactical analysis of Forest season so far. Look, we've done all the manager talk, but the other conversation that's happening a lot in the fan base now is which is the better formation? Is it a back four for Nottingham Forest? Did we recruit for a back four, or did we actually recruit for a back five, and should Forest revert back to the good old low block football? We'll be covering this all off now. If you're enjoying the video or this type of video or the content in general, please don't forget to hit the like, subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new. And don't forget, tonight at 7 p.m, we've got Beat the Drop. And I don't worry if you guys miss it. I would understand it because Jimmy is going to do our head in tonight. He thinks Sheffield United have won the league with one victory. So tune in for that at 7 p.m. and let's get on with this video. So in recent times, Nottingham Forest have been playing a back four formation. It's something that I wanted. I wanted to see progressive football, man. None of this low block BS. And maybe you guys wanted it. Maybe some of you didn't want it. But Forest against Wolves in our victory, draw. The way some fans are reacting to that performance, they've even got me convinced we won. But they went to a back five there. And it's something I thought Cooper was going to do against Fulham. I predicted he would go for a 5-3-1-1, the old Christmas tree style formation. And I think maybe had he done that against Wolves, we wouldn't have held, against Fulham, we wouldn't have held 5. But he's reverted to it. And the general feeling right now is that we are going to be here to see low block football going forward as long as Cooper is in charge. But is that the right approach? Should Forest be going to this back five, or should we stick with the back four? That's the debate we're about to have. I want your comments in down below. At the moment, before you've seen any of the stats that I'm going to show you, do you want a back five or do you want a back four? And does your mind change at all when I show you the stats in just a second? Now, I know I said I didn't want to talk about Cooper, so I have to bring him up because obviously he's the manager, but not in terms of in or out. One thing I will say is Cooper traditionally has always been a back five kind of manager. Even in the championship, when we were flying through that in our promotion season, it was a kind of 5-2-1-2 formation, even though it was obscured towards the right-hand side with Jed Spence and Brennan Johnson really creating the majority of our attacking channels there. Even when we came back into the Premier League, Cooper started and recruited for that first season into a back five and didn't switch it up until the pressure really started to ramp up on him. Went into a back four and then eventually reverted into a back five and got us over the line and avoided relegation. But even over this summer, and it's something we had a debate about on Grumpy Old Reds yesterday, was the recruitment done for a back five formation or was it done for a back four formation? And I believe the beginning of the window was more aimed at a back five formation. We saw loads of defenders coming in, about 6 billion wingbacks coming in as well. And then towards the latter stages of it, we saw some wingers brought in, some midfielders brought in, and 1 or 2 backup strikers, if you even want to call them that. So it feels like it's been a bit haphazard. I think most of the fan base will now agree that the recruitment was a bit scattergun this summer. But all that aside, the comfort blanket for Cooper, and I don't think anyone can argue this, is the back five, or maybe you want to call it a back three formation. So let's get in and have a look at Forest's performance so far this season and how it stacks up as a back four versus a back three. Okay, so this website covers off all the formations that Nottingham Forest have used this season. Now, they don't simply go back four, back five. It's a 4-3-3, a diamond, a 3-back, a 5-back, etc. I'll group these together for you and we'll go through them individually. Now, the other thing this website does, it says the N-word, man. It says Notts Forest. So we'll glaze over that for now before you guys pick up on it in the comments. I'm sure 1 or 2 of you already have. Not my website, just going to say. Anyway, So let me explain it so that you guys understand what we're looking at here. So you can break it down by all competitions. That would include the League Cup. Well, we know what happened there. So I've put it down by Premier League. Now we can look at home and away form, which we'll touch on in a minute. But you can see here, these are all the formations that Forest have used across the season so far. And that's 7 different formations. That in itself is way too much. At the start of the season, I said I would understand if we were playing away from home or if we were playing a big 6 team, that Cooper would revert to a back 5, be hard to beat, etc. And then at home, when we're playing the crappers like your Lutons, your Sheffield Uniteds, etc., that you would go for a more advanced attacking formation. Haven't really seen that, but have seen it in some instances, and we'll cover that off in a second. So the 7 formations that have been used are a 4-3-3. That's been his most popular choice. Then the second most popular choice is a 3-4-2-1. And then a 3-4-2-1 again. So he's used that actually 8 times in slight variations. A 4-2-3-1, he's used that twice. A 4-5-1 and a 4-1-4-1. And then finally a 3-5-2. Now, I don't think these websites understand exactly the breakdown of it. Yes, there are some slight tweaks, etc. But I will group them in a second into 4s and 5s. But if we have a look at this and the results, in the 4-3-3 formation, Forest have lost twice, they've won once against Villa and picked up 3 points. Now, most of these points were picked up at home and 1 away point against Crystal Palace. That's in the 4-3-3. If we look at the other variations of the 4-3-3, that was, of the 4-back, that was a 4-2-3-1. We've done that twice. We did that against Fulham, where we held 5. And we did that at home against Burnley, where we drew 1 apiece. And then finally, with the 4-1-4-1, again, not really what it was, but that was against Brighton, and we lost 3-2. So overall, your points tally for Forest from a back 4 formation is 6 in that formation, and then another one here, which was 7 against Burnley. So that's the amount of points we picked up in a back 4 formation. Now, if we switch that to the back 5/3, let's have a look. So we did that against Arsenal. First game of the season, we lost. We went with a back 5 or a 3 against Sheffield United, just beat them in the last minute, lost to Man United in a back 5 and beat Chelsea in a back 3. So 6 points there. In the other slight variations of it, these still come under it, so no extra points gained here. And let's bring the final one here, which was the draw against Wolves. So Forest in a back 5 versus a back 4 have picked up exactly the same amount of points, 7 apiece. Now, in terms of the style of football, I would say that the 2 standout matches for Forest this season have been the away performance against Chelsea and the home performance against Aston Villa. And both of those are not in the same formation. One was a back 4, one was a back 5. So the stats are kind of pointing towards this season that actually, is there been a huge difference in the return on points from Forest between a back 4 and a back 5? The actual answer is no. It's been exactly the same. Now, you could argue that Forest have played more games in a back 4. I think it's 9 versus 7, I think it is, in the back 5. But is it really that important whether we're playing a back 4 or a back 5? That's the question I'd like your answers on in the comments down below. Okay, so if that hasn't swayed you one way or the other, let me give you some goal stats about 4 versus 5. And this one is quite interesting. So let's start with the back 4. In a back 4, Forest have scored 10 goals in total, where they've started in a back 4 formation, and they've conceded 16 goals. That gives us a goal difference of -6. In a back 5, Forest have scored 7 goals and conceded 12 goals, which gives us a goal difference of -5. Now, yes, Forest have played, remember, more games in the back 4 by 2, and they held 5 against Fulham in that one, so you could say maybe that's the anomaly. But putting those aside, -6 versus -5, there's really not much in it at all. And the other argument you could add on to that is, okay, when Forest have played the back 5, more times than not, it's been against the harder opposition. And when they've played the back 4, apart from Sheffield United, It's been, the easier opposition. There's very, very little in this when you look at it on a stats and objectively in terms of which suits Nottingham Forest better. But has the goals swayed you one way or the other? Let me know in the comments down below. So this stat here is an overall stat. This isn't looking at back four or back five, but this is how Forest have touches in terms of possession of football on the football pitch. And it's quite interesting when you look at it. Still, we are very right-sided heavy. It's something that I feel we've always been. 41% of our play comes down the right-hand side, 34% down the left. Now, that is a slight difference on what it was last year, where it was like literally 100% down the right and then 25% down the middle. But our action zones are interesting. 33% of the time, we're having touches in our own half, 43% of the time in the middle third. And shock horror, the least percentages we get are in the opposition third, is 25%. And even if you were to break this down home and away, home is slightly up in the opposition third at 27%, and away it goes down to 23%. Why am I showing you this? Because the point here that I'm trying to make, and again, because someone, this has got nothing to do with the video, but it just comes to mind. Someone yesterday said, oh, Wolverine, you just hate a back five and you think a back five means low block. No, I don't. There are many coaches that use a back three formation /5 as an attacking option. I've never once said back five means you're playing low block. But when Cooper does it, it does mean that, because he's not playing it as a back three, he's playing it as a back five. But the point here of the video is this. Back four or back five, it doesn't really matter. The stats prove that. What matters is the mentality and the tactics that are used on the pitch. And that's where we are struggling. So the argument can be made to have a back five. It can be made to have a back four. But to me, that should be a secondary argument behind the tactics, the negative football, and the woeful passing we see across the team, especially in our midfield. Until that is sorted out first as a priority, then it doesn't matter if you go back 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. It's not going to make a difference, because the stats show that either way is too close to call. Yes, you do need to set yourself on a formation to then build your squad around. And this is the other thing I wanted to show. 7 formations in a season that we've only seen, 15, 16 games from so far, is way too many. 7 changes on the pitch in the starting lineup, 5 the week before, chopping and changing left, right, and center. It just goes to further underline that there is no strategy currently at Nottingham Forest. It almost feels like put the names in the hat, pull them out, and chuck them into a formation. I know it's more technical than that, but at the moment you can see the struggles Steve Cooper is having when it comes to picking players, when it comes to picking formation. The only thing he seems to be set on, in my opinion, is his tactics, which is try and concede less and let's see what happens in the opposition half. Until this point is addressed, sooner rather than later, we probably will see Forest continue to struggle. Because remember, even if we go at Spurs on Friday, if we manage a 0-0, everyone will think that's probably a good point. But the point is here, we're reducing the amount of goals we're scoring going into that tactic. Yes, we're reducing the amount of goals we're conceding. So it becomes that whole scales of balance there. But I just wanted to share these with you. I thought we all needed a break from the manager debate. And I think this is quite an interesting debate to have. So get your thoughts in down below. Do you prefer a back 4 or 5? Do you not care? Or do you, like me, think it's the tactics that need to be addressed first before we start worrying about how many are playing in the back line? Don't forget, tonight at 7 PM, we got the Beat the Drop coming for you. We'll see you on the next video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and come on, you Reds.